Good evening. It's nice to see almost 190 people. So it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Garima Anandani. And when I look at her CV, I am impressed. When we were doing our education, we never thought of doing post-graduations and fellowships and all that. This young lady, will you believe that she has a 21-year experience in the field of physiotherapy and spine rehabilitation? She is the first clinician from India to qualify for the prestigious diploma in MDT from Mackenzie Institute International University of Otago, United States. She is trained at St. David's Spine and Sports Therapy, Austin, Texas. She is the clinical director of a chain of spine clinics called QI Spine or Chi Spine. She started the team of physiotherapy at Asianad Hospital. And in addition to all these accolades, she is a mother of 9-year-old, a national level swimmer, a trekker and a fitness enthusiast. Dr. Garima, over to you. You are on mute. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Asrani, for a lovely introduction.
Please take over.
First of all, I would recognize all my medical colleagues, my friends, my family who's joining and taking out time today to learn the importance of chest physiotherapy pulmonary rehabilitation program in recovery of COVID. Thank you, Dr. Asrani, for giving me a chance in your forum to talk about such an important aspect. And this pandemic is over us. Each and every one of us are impacted. So I appreciate the importance and thank you for the chance. All right. A very good evening, everybody. Can we all have a smile on our face? And first of all, I would like to thank all my doctors, the medical professionals, the supportive staff, the pharma companies, and all those people whom I'm not able to mention right now who are involved in the care of COVID. A big salute from all of us, all my community, each one of us. A big thank you to each one of us. Thank you. I would like to now allow, can I share my screen? Can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, doctor, you can share your screen.
So today's topic of discussion is pulmonary rehabilitation, physiotherapy, yoga, recovery from COVID-19. Apart from doctors, there are few general members along. So I will avoid using too medical language.
Dr. Garima, please make it slideshow mode. This is not yet slideshow mode. Or you are PDF, you are showing PDF?
I am using PDF.
Okay. Please go ahead.
All right. So today's topic is ways to look after your well-being and road to recovery. So can I move on to the next slide? Salute to the doctors. Thank you, everybody who's been relentlessly working day and night. Doctor, for my introduction, thank you. That's a little bit about me. The certifications are only a hunger to knowledge and hunger to do well in the field I have chosen. I have two primary aspects which I focused in my career. One is pulmonary and cardiac rehab, Asian Heart and Key Spine Clinic are my major experiences. Apart from that, I've worked in AIIPMR, which is a government institute, where I did my post-graduation and worked 1.5 years during that time. I've done many certifications, but I would not like to talk about this right now. However, what I would like to mention is we have done a lot of international publications on peer-reviewed journals in a quest to prove that physiotherapy works. Thank you. Let's come to the topic of today, effect of COVID. Fatigue, physical impairment, psychological impairment, cognitive impairment. COVID is known to cause major alveoli damage. Apart from that, physical weakness, depression, sometimes a lot of difficult things which people have to go through. There are a lot of other complications which can happen. However, what is important is we recognize that COVID is still a new disease for us. And as we go about, living the after effects, we must be able to get back to our recovery and get back to our pre-COVID health. So physical impairment in terms of muscle weakness, lot of fatigue, different parts of the body which can get involved, psychological impairment, your mind, your ability or focus to do things, cognitive impairment in terms of memory loss, in terms of the damage caused sometimes, and developing neurological disorders and other complications which a lot of doctors, you here, know more than me. However, I'm going to restrict myself today to talk about what I know best, which is muscle, lungs, and recovery using rehabilitation. I need all of you here. Right now, we have 340 participants. I need each and every one of you to join my hands and ensure this program or a pulmonary rehabilitation program, the techniques reach the masses, because the effect of recovery using these techniques is not known to many. So all the doctors, my friends, all the community who's part of Dr. Asrani's community, please join hands and let's fight together on road to recovery after COVID. This is our Facebook community where we do live sessions, techniques to improve lung capacity. You can learn to improve your muscle strength and deal with fatigue. Journey of a COVID patient. Right from the time you start your symptoms, getting your diagnosis done, and medical management at home, quarantining, or at the hospital. It's a roller coaster ride. Being a medical professional, while today is my 20th day of recovery from COVID, despite having all the doctors who were there to help me, my friends, I still had uncertainty, questions in my mind, which were very difficult. And I had a child at home, which was 9-year-old, did not know, what next, if I had to go to the hospital. I had done my vaccination. But as these questions cropped my mind, it was just about the 4th, 5th day. I thought, being a medical professional, I still have these doubts. What about the general public out there? So I thought it's very important to share my knowledge through this Road to Recovery program. So presenting to you pulmonary rehabilitation program. Four pillars of recovery while you go through COVID. meditate, eat a well-balanced diet, do your breathing and other exercise shared by the specialist. First pillar. Second pillar, brushing 4 to 5 times a day, doing saltwater gargle, keeping a good oral hygiene, rinsing with mouthwash. Third pillar, steam inhalation twice in a day, helps you clear the nasal passage, makes breathing easy. May not kill the virus. The fourth and the most important pillar is hydrating yourself, drinking few liters of water as per advice and as per your medical conditions. Today, we are going to talk about the exercise precautions you need to take before taking an exercise program after COVID. Many of you who have an oximeter at home can measure oxygen now while you do this program. In interest of time, we'll not be able to do a lot of exercise, but today the aim is to educate you, make sure that you understand what is needed. So first precaution, begin this exercise after discharge from the hospital when you have no fever. If you're in the hospital, you will be guided by the doctors and the staff there. However, if because the infrastructure is being collapsed and you don't have any education, you can use some of these skills in the hospital, provided your fever has gone. So that's called the phase 1. So when you're in the hospital, when you're dealing with fever, the first few days of COVID is your first phase. We would start simple abdominal breathing and proning practices, postural drainage. However, all other exercises can be started later. As I said, the guideline for the hospitals will be covered separately in a separate seminar maybe later. But let's understand today, what can we do when we are at home dealing left alone on a home quarantine program? Stop this exercise if you get chest pain, palpitation, dizziness, lightheadedness, or any other symptoms which is not mentioned here. Keep your mask on when exercising if others are around you. Perform all exercises with pulse oximeter, monitoring your oxygen and heart rate. आपको अपना ऑक्सीजन और आपको अपना हार्ट रेट मॉनिटर करने की जरूरत है ड्यूरिंग, बिफोर एंड आफ्टर. Oxygen level should not drop below 90% at any point of time. If it drops below 90%, sit down, relax, and speak to your physiotherapist or doctor if it doesn't settle. Ideally, this program is, before you do this exercise program, we would like you to do a 6-minute walk test. 6-minute walk test is a widely used test to measure whether you're fit to start the exercise. It is used in ICUs, in the hospitals, in the wards, and during a home tele rehabilitation program. It can be done free of cost, does not need anything except a pulse oximeter. If you are a blood pressure patient or you have had blood pressure, it requires you to measure your blood pressure before and after, measuring your pulse rate, and keeping a water bottle with you, and keeping an alarm or a phone with you in case you're feeling dizzy or you need help. The program 6-minute walk test can be done at home in a small circular fashion, marking one point and ending at that point. If you feel at any point of time during those 6 minutes breathless, unable to walk, you can take break after 300 to 400 meters. Sit down, catch your breath, continue. It's important to feel safe and not to exhaust yourself. However, if you are conditioned and you're comfortable, please continue your program. This allows you to measure what's your current capacity. Start slow, week 1, week 2, week 3, go on. This list is endless. You can get back to your original capacity of being able to do minimum 45 minutes to an hour, slow and steady. If you are suffering from moderate to severe COVID, you will need guidance. Please do not do it on your own. If you have suffered from moderate to severe COVID, try to get help. You can join our program. However, what is important is your safety, and what is important is you need to do it. You need to do the program to get the results. Once your walk test is done, you can measure your capacity and start following the exercise guidelines. I move on to the next part, which is part 2, body positions to help lungs breathe better. Now, what is important is, I have put a common program which is put here, which has been used in the media, but this is just for the normal population who do not understand exactly what is postural drainage. So today, fortunate to be speaking to many of the doctors, postural drainage or simple body positions are techniques to help remove excretions, phlegm from your lungs. Postural drainage एक ऐसी टेक्निक है जो हमें लंग्स को हमें ब्रीदिंग और हमारे लंग्स में जो फ्लेम है, जो इन्फेक्शन की वजह से जो बलगम पैदा हो रहा है, उसे रिमूव करने के लिए हेल्प करता है. पोस्टरल ड्रेनेज एक बहुत ही टेक्निकल टेक्निक है जो कि फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट द्वारा आईसीयूज, होम्स, वार्ड्स में की जाती है to help patients breathe better. It is done all the time during surgeries, post-surgery. I mean, recovery from post-surgery, from heart surgeries, from many of the other surgeries. Chest physiotherapy is crucial to help you clear your lungs. Importance is quite high in helping you recover and breathe better. So what I would like to do, and Dr. Asrani, if you can help me, can I quickly demonstrate these positions in interest of people who are attending today? So, Dr. Asrani, please let me know if I can demonstrate these positions.
Yes, you can demonstrate.
Okay, so I'm going to shut my video, go to the other portion of my house, and I'm going to demonstrate quickly what are these important positions. As I said, these are some very important positions my audience should know, and important of doing them right. And there are some other techniques along with, like chest vibrations, like cupping, which can be used alongside postural drainage or positionings, which help us recover faster, reduces the number of hospital days, reduces ICU stays. And as a country, it's important that we are able to reduce the number of hospital days so other patients get chance who are waiting to be hospitalized or are waiting for the ICU beds. Cannot emphasize the importance of this. Give me 30 seconds to reach my next position. Am I visible? Dr. Asrani, I am visible. Please.
Wait. We have to shut down the video.
All right. So we have to stop sharing.
No, I'll do it. Yeah.
All right. Let me know if I am visible. Can you spotlight me, Dr. Asrani?
Yes, you are visible.
Can you spotlight me for everybody?
Yeah, I have spotlighted you.
Thank you. So, lungs have different lobes. There are upper lobes, middle lobes, lower lobes, and have different anterior, posterior, different parts of lungs. Each of these lobes can develop secretions of phlegm due to the pneumonia which is developing in moderate to severe cases. And as this happens, positioning or postural drainage positions have a very, very important role to play. So I'm going to demonstrate few positions here. And as I said, it's very scientific. In interest of general public, I'll not be using medical terms. However, what is important is, let's understand that can some of these positions help us drain out the secretions. So one of the first positions which can be adopted is lying on side in a position where I have kept a cushion under my arm and under my lower leg. And my body is tilted about 45 degrees on the mat. So the pillow is somewhat on my arm and chest. My head can be supported with a small cushion or my hand. My neck can be turned onto one side. There are certain contraindications of who should not be doing these positions. If you have done an abdominal surgery, if you have any recent surgery, any hip surgery, any spine surgery, if you are pregnant, a few other medical conditions, these positions may be contraindicated. So this is one of the first positions which can be done. These positions can be held for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In severe cases of pneumonia, half an hour. In these positions, you have to do simple, effortless, relaxed breathing. Hold the positions, be in those positions. I'm going to move on to the next position, but Dr. Asrani, are you able to take a screenshot?
Yes, I can, but what I would suggest is, can you lower the camera, because we are not able to see the pillows. Yeah, perfect. Now perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now can you take a screenshot?
Yeah, I'm taking a screenshot.
Yeah, now I'm ready.
Yeah, taken.
Now, as I said, these different positions work on different parts of the lungs, on emptying the secretions. There could be 12 to 15 different positions based on where the secretions are in the lung. The other, I've kept my pillows behind my back this time. And I'm going to lie the other way. So this time again, I'm lying on the side, 45 degrees tilted, my body, my back is supported. On the pillows. Dr. Asrani, are you able to see?
Yeah, I can see. I've taken a snapshot also.
All right. The next position which can be done is lying down on your tummy. Again, I'm using a little bit bigger pillow, but you can use a smaller pillow too. Supporting the abdomen, lying down on this. Now in the ICU and hospitals, where we have the bed tilting, to drain the different lobes, we can actually tilt the bed up and down, depending on tilting the whole bed up and down, depending on the lobe we want to drain our oxygen from. So what is important is, this is called proning. However, you can tilt the bed up and down to drain the secretions from different parts of the lobe. This position works on the posterior lobes of our lungs. You can be in this position. You can also put a pillow here, but again, depending on different lobes, pillow under your feet I don't have that right away. Pillow under the abdomen. You can turn your head to one side. Be there in this position. You can keep your hands by your side or here, whichever is comfortable. These positions are very important. However, should be done if your oxygen level is below 94%. If your oxygen level is not below 94%, you don't need these. You need other type of exercises. I emphasize this point. These positions are important if your oxygen is below 94%. Now, I would like to show another position, which is, am I visible?
Yeah.
Now, this is another position which can be used to work on the upper lobes. In all these positions, when you have a lung full of secretions, vibrations, cupping, and different type of chest expansion movements are used to help you remove the secretions and gain your oxygen back to normal. In these positions, you can also do sectional breathing. Sectional breathing is upper lobes, middle lobes, lower lobes, and abdominals. Abdominal breathing. Abdominal breathing has a very important role here. Can be done in these positions. You can also do another position, again for a different part of lung, which is like this. Now, again, you can take a screenshot. These positions, staying in these positions for 5 to 10 seconds, doing abdominal breathing can be very useful to help you recover and remove the secretions and get it to your throat so that you can cough them out. I would like to take us to the next part of the presentation where we are talking about once these secretions are kind of reaching the upper respiratory tract, how do we cough them out? So we move on to the third part or the third technique, which is called as active cycle of breathing technique, ACBT. ACBT, active cycle of breathing technique. It will help you clear the sputum from your chest. जो आपके बलगम में जमा हो गया है, it will help you clear that. It will help you do better breathing control, deep breathing. And you have to do what we called as huffing. I'm going to demonstrate what is huffing. You can sit in any comfortable position. And as you sit in any comfortable position, you have to, I'm sitting in cross-leg sitting right now, rather than going back to the chair. While I talk, I'm going to demonstrate the ACBT. मैं आपको आज demonstrate कर रही हूँ active cycle of breathing technique. ACBT technique क्या होती है? इसमें हम लोग breathing control करते हैं, deep breathing करते हैं, फिर huffing करते हैं, coughing करते हैं और फिर breathing करते हैं. So it's a cycle which we do to clear the lungs of the secretions which we have done using positioning, and now we have to remove them from our throat out so that we feel that we can breathe better. So what is a huff sound? Huff sound है, ध्यान से देखिए, what is in huff sound? Huff sound है Dr. Asrani, if you can unmute people, at least few of them, or somebody can voluntarily take a chance and understand what is a huffing sound. Huffing sound is you exhale and say, so you're almost removing a her sound and exhaling out. Can we have few volunteers and try, few of you people can try so that we know you have understood it.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Huff should be slow. The huff should be not very loud. A small huff and a big huff. So small huff is a big huff would be. I'm not yet allowing you to cough. Huffing and coughing are different. Huffing is breathe out and make a sound. Okay, you're making a sound of her and you're exhaling forcefully. Okay, and once huffing is done, a long huff and a short huff. Short huff is, a long huff is, a long huff induces a cough reflex. Long huff क्या करता है? आपको एक लंबा कॉफ करने का चांस देता है. लॉन्ग हफ इज it is inducing cough. It is very, very important for people whose respiratory muscles have become weak. They may need assistance, they may need to learn the technique so that they can help themselves cough out the secretions. The lungs become weak, fibrous, and there's a lot of alveoli damage. So it's very important that by huffing and coughing, we are able to remove these secretions. Coughing is normal. Once huffing is done, coughing and removing the secretions. Now, these are type of sounds we hear in our ICUs, in our ICU rounds. Having spent 4 years at Asian Heart, sometimes doing night duties, sometimes doing holiday duties, sometimes this was something which we did day and night. And all those patients, the relief they get after coughing out all the secretions, being able to breathe better, not feeling breathless, and feeling free to walk and do their exercises is immense. I would request everybody to practice these techniques correctly under guidance, learn them well, spend time, learn them, then do them well. Let's now move on to the next part of our presentation. Next technique. The next technique, so you keep doing this cycle of breathing till you reach clear lungs. So you breathe, you do breathe in, breathe out, few rounds, you do huffing, coughing, again you do breathing. You keep doing this till you feel your lungs are clear. The next part of the technique is spirometry. Incentive spirometer. What is it? It's a respiratory muscle exerciser. Incentive spirometry है muscle lungs के लिए use होती है, lung exercises के लिए use होती है. It is used to help us practice deep breathing. It opens up the airways. It prevents fluid and mucus from building up in your lungs. Makes it easy for you to breathe. Incentive spirometry can be done 10 to 15 repetitions every 3 hours, depending on your capacity. You have to slowly build it up. You can start with even 5, go up to 10, 15, and so on and so forth. I have shown here 3 different types of spirometers. Participants, please mute yourself. These are 3 different types of spirometers, and there are many more respiratory devices available to exercise the lungs. The 3-ball spirometer has a capacity of 1200 cc. 1 ball is 300, 2 ball is 600 cc, 3 balls is 1200 cc. The middle one has 2500 capacity. The last one, I cannot see the readings here.
Dr. Garima, 1 second. I think, audience, please mute yourself. We are getting a lot of disturbance from your background. Preeti, can you mute everyone? Yeah, Dr. Garima, you can start. You can unmute yourself. Just 1 minute, 1 minute.
म्यूट कर दे हम.
Dr. Garima, please unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself, Dr. Garima. No, you have an option of unmuting yourself. Okay, now you can talk. Yeah.
Just give me 1 second, please. So the spirometer, how many of you here have a spirometer currently at home? If you have, please, I would like you to get it. I would like you to get it right now. This is the spirometer. I have the 3-ball one right with me. Can you all see me? If yes, you can do it with me. You have to exhale out. Then again, breathe in. You can start with 1 ball, 2 ball, 3 ball. So different techniques can be used in spirometer. You can do it in different positions like side lying, supine, on your back. It's important to do this every single day and important to go beyond 1200 cc to 2500 cc. The next part of the next technique is doing the actual exercise program. Like I mentioned before, monitoring your SpO2 heart rate, आपका oximeter, आपका heart rate, आपका blood pressure, ये important vitals हैं जो आपको notebook में track रखने की जरूरत है. These important vitals need to be noted before you do your exercise program. We talked about walking, we talked about spirometry, we talked about ACBT technique, and now we're talking about what are the different type of exercises that can be started at home. We will be talking in depth about breathing exercises, which breathing exercises, but these are important warm-up exercises which should be done. Now, in interest of time, I'm not going to take too long. I'm just going to show you 1 to 2 repetitions of each of these exercises. Dr. Asrani, should I demonstrate these exercises so that everybody gets an understanding of what they can do, what type of exercises they can do?
Please do.
Thank you.
Give me a time to take snapshot each time so I can share with them subsequently.
All right. Give me 30 seconds to set up my chair and I will get started. All right. Can you all see me?
Yes, we can see.
We can start with simple marching on the spot. Simple marching on the spot. Keep a chair close by. Initial period of COVID, if you are petite, even these simple steps can be very tiring. Marching on spot, keep a chair close by. That's the first movement which can be done. You can also do side steps. That's the second exercise that can be done. Similarly, you can do front steps and back. These are simple warm-up tools which can be used. The next one is moving your hands. You can sit into it or you can stand into it. That's the third one. It can be done also sitting. The fourth one is a simple, gentle stretch like a boxing movement. This is the fourth one. Again, depending on how you feel, you can start doing this. It mobilizes the upper arms, chest, allows you to breathe better. That was the fifth one. Sixth one is hands by your side. Rotations. Again, these are warm-up rotations. That's the sixth one. We can even do sit to stand. That's the seventh one. You don't have to sit on the chair. Sit to stand works on your gluteals, calf. Keep normal breathing. Do them or start with whatever you can tolerate. 5 repetitions, 10 repetitions. You don't have to sit. You go back up. This is called sit to stand. It works on your gluteals. It works on your calf. We can do raising of your heels, walking on heels, if your balance permits. Otherwise, just walk, raise your heels and down. These are simple starting basic exercises which can be done. Heel raises. This is the 9th one, Dr. Aswani. Now the next things which can be done are simple knee extensions. घुटने को सीधा करना है इस तरह से. साइड व्यू इस तरह से सीधा बैठ के यहाँ पे आपको स्ट्रेटन करना है. Knee extensions, again, start slow, 5 to 10 repetitions to begin with, and then you can go on and keep doing more as your body tolerates. Again, few more. Side lift, working again on your gluteals, keep your core strong, body straight, hold on to a chair so that you don't lose balance. You can even start with, if you're not mobile, if you don't feel up to it, you can start with simple exercises on the floor, which is also called in yoga or in physiotherapy bridging, and in yoga, Setu Bandhasan. Simple leg extension, straight leg raise. All these exercises should be done slow and steady, keeping in mind. All these exercises should be done slow and steady, keeping in mind that you are recovering, and depending on, start slow, keep building up. It's very, very crucial that if required, please don't hesitate. Reach out to the doctors, physiotherapists, specialists, and most important, specialists in pulmonary rehabilitation. Now, we go to the next part of the presentation. The fifth, I think 5th or 6th. Let's look at the presentation. Thank you for being patient, listeners. These slides will be shared with all of you so that you can use this knowledge and guide people. These are some of the initial yoga asanas which can be started. If you are having any specific heart condition or any other specific disease, please contact a yoga practitioner or contact our team to guide you further. Yoga asanas which can be done in the beginning phase are Tadasana, bending back, stretching your arms behind, opening up the lungs, and doing the fourth movement right here. Today, I do not have my yoga colleague joining me today for the session. Otherwise, we would have demonstrated and talked about little more on this. We can have a separate session talking a lot about what is yoga, what yoga asanas and breathing practices which can be done. However, if you are suffering from specific conditions, specific medical conditions, you need guidance. Please do not start them without knowing if you fit the criteria. You can safely do these simple breathing, simple asanas and warm up at home if you do not have any other medical condition. This is the pranayama and meditation recommended practice. Kapalbhati should be done only very slowly and begin with, maybe start with 1 or 2 rounds. Slow and steady should be done after little bit of your recovery is done. We do not want any forceful movement and it should be as tolerated. Deep breathing, again, Kapalbhati is contraindicated in certain medical conditions. So you need to be aware of those before you do them. Deep breathing exercises. Now, deep breathing exercises, which include Alom Vilom, sectional breathing, apical, chest, abdominal breathing. These 3 different type of breathings can be done to expand different parts of the lungs. Ujjayi is again a very important technique which can be used if done correctly, can have immense benefit. Brahmari, there's a lot of research done on Brahmari, its usefulness in helping patients and even mental health. It has many effects. As I said, we can have a detailed session on this as well. As of now, I'll stick to just naming the asanas and the practices which can be done. Meditation has a very important role in calming the mind and improving calming our breathing. Very important in helping us. Reaching out to a psychologist in times if you're feeling depressed, losing loved ones is very important. Do not feel shy. Mental health has affected us, all of us, during this pandemic. Who are we? We are a group of friends who have gone through some of ourselves through COVID, and we are starting a pulmonary rehabilitation program where it will help people. It's a tele program so that it can help lots and lots of people. We are not getting restricted by the geography. It can be done from home, depending on mild, moderate, severe. It could be a 5-day to a 6 to 8 week program. If you feel you want us to spread awareness, we can conduct various workshops, especially to make a lot of people aware. If anybody needs any specific guidance, you can reach out to us. Who are part of the team? Physiotherapists, pulmonologists, nutritionists, doctors, psychologists, and support team. Today, I would like to thank all of you who are here, and I would like all of you to join hands in spreading awareness on the role of physiotherapy, pulmonary rehabilitation in recovery from COVID. What is important is if we know, अगर हमारे पास knowledge है तो हम ये techniques use करके हमारी recovery और हमारी family members की recovery fast कर सकते हैं. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर असरानी एंड उनकी टीम को and all the doctors who are here. Thank you for my friends, my family who have supported me through this journey. Dr. Asrani, over to you.
Thank you very much for a wonderful talk and demonstration. You said about Kapalbharti. I would like to mention, you said not to be done in few conditions. See, Kapalbharti puts tremendous strain on the heart. So if your patient has coronary artery disease, if the patient has low ejection fraction, then you should never allow them to do Kapalbharti and never try to do with force like Ramdev Baba does. It can work very badly. So before I take some questions, I will give some new insights which I have got into managing the COVID lockdown. I mean, post-COVID weakness. You know, there are certain, it is said that in the post-COVID period, if we can avoid certain medicine in our patients or take care of the deficiency, like metformin reduces the absorption of B12, B1 and folic acid. So if we cannot stop metformin, we should give supplementation of B12, B1 and folic acid. We should try and hold on statins for about a week unless the patient is in a very critical cardiac condition, because that prevents absorption of coenzyme Q10. Commonest prescription I have seen is proton pump inhibitors. I myself never give. If I have to give, I will give ranitidine. So PPIs will inhibit vitamin B, all vitamin B, magnesium, iron, zinc and calcium. So no point in giving zinc and giving PPI along with that. And ACE inhibitors diminish the absorption of zinc. I know ACE inhibitors cannot be stopped if the patient is already on, so we might as well give little higher dose of zinc. Then a new drug which I learned through my research and which I used in several patients with very good results is levocarnitine. The brand name available is Carnitor, 500 milligram. 2 tablets a day reduces post-COVID fatigue in a very big way. There are certain brands available of B12, folic acid and levocarnitine 500 milligram. You can give one of that and you can give one of Carnitor 500 alone. That helps in a very big way. B complex, zinc, fish oil, and if you want to give CoQ enzyme 10, 100 or 200. These are the things which I have been using for last 2 weeks for post-COVID fatigue, and they are giving very good results. So I will take the questions which have come. Okay, Dr. Garima, there is a question by Dr. Deepa Parab. Can you throw some light on sectional breathing, pursed lip breathing?
Yes, I'll do that. In fact, I would like to show it. Thank you. It's a very good question. Sectional breathing has 3 important parts: apical, chest, and abdominal. So first, let's just understand abdominal breathing and pursed lip breathing. So pursed lip breathing involves doing deep abdominal breathing through your nose, filling in your abdomen with the air, and exhaling out through your mouth through pursed lips. Breathe in through your nose, inhale as deep as you can, fill up your abdomen like a balloon. And purse your lips and exhale out. Breathe in. It has to be done very, very, very slowly and gently, and it has to go as deep as possible. Inhale counts could be anywhere between 3, 5, 6. Exhalation should be longer. Exhale very slowly on count of again 4, 5, 7. Exhalation should take longer. So this is inhale, exhale. This is sectional breathing. I'm working on my diaphragm. I'm doing breathing through the abdomen. Chest breathing. Breathe in. This, whatever is comfortable. That's chest breathing. Third part is apical breathing. Thank you for the lovely question so that I could demonstrate these. Thank you. Next one.
There's a question by Dr. Nirmala Idnani. By doing Brahmari, is nitrous oxide produced which helps in COVID cases?
I am not the right person to answer this question. I think there will be a lot of experts maybe in the audience. So, or I can answer back through a chat with my esteemed colleague who works with me alongside, who's a master's in Yoga Shastra. So, I'll pass this question.
I think the
Any other
position
questions?
that you've given of lung, with pillows, how many minutes minimum or maximum we have to retain this position?
If your SpO2 is below 94, these positions have a huge importance in your recovery. Very, very important. So the amount of time you need to spend in this position should be 10 to 15 minutes each side, depending on the lobe which we are draining and the amount of infection or amount of secretions we have in that. 10 to 15 minutes. But if you have back pain or if you have any other condition because of which you're not able to lie down for long, lie down as long as you can lie down and then change positions. Sometimes even for severe patients, we use half an hour, 40 minutes in that position. There's no harm. You can even lie down in that position for half an hour, 40 minutes. As long as your back, your knee, your other joints are not paining. And you are not contraindicated for those positions. So there are some contraindications which should be kept in mind, especially if you've undergone recent surgery, if you are pregnant, if you have any other conditions which don't allow you to lie down on your tummy.
That was the question that people with large abdominal girth find it difficult to prone with pillows under the abdomen. How to prone them?
Well, it is difficult. If you have large abdomen, it is kind of difficult. You can just use, if we are talking about the hospitals, the bed positioning kind of, as I said, proning in medical terms. I mean, if you don't use the pillow, you can even just tilt the bed if the bed allows, so that you can drain the lungs. So you can put something underneath to tilt the bed. Sometimes we also use just books to prop up so that you can get kind of head tilt to drain different parts of the lung.
I remember I was doing my MBBS way back in 1970s. In the bronchiectasis cases, the physiotherapist will make the patient head hang below the bed and pound on the back to bring out the phlegm.
Yes.
Then there is an input by one Dr. Neil Bhanushali. New data released by NHS UK declared proning is most effective if maintained 14 out of 24 hours.
Wow.
So
Thank you for sharing, Doc.
A lot of people actually have a habit of sleeping prone. They cannot sleep supine. So I think it is a good exercise, even if you are not COVID, not post-COVID. It is good, it will improve your lung capacity. Then, can we exercise during the active COVID treatment if the patient is not admitted? Before Dr. Garima says, I say yes, because I insist that patient walks around in the house. If it's a small room, do spot walk. It should not fatigue them. I tell them to do simple free hand exercises. I tell them to remember the PT they did in school and move all the joints. Now, Dr. Garima, you.
Well, absolutely well said, Dr. Asrani. Exercise, early mobilization is key to recovery. Early mobilization helps us get back to recovery faster. So, simple, starting with how much ever your fatigue allows, simple breathing exercises, ankle toe movements, moving knee in and out, rotations, simple things can be started. Knee extensions, sitting at the edge of the bed, simple rotations, breathing exercises can be started. However, for a higher level of exercise, you can only wait for the fever to come down, and we use an RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion, or BOG scale, to figure out how much patient can tolerate. And basis this scale, we decide the amount of activity he needs to do. It is as tolerated, can be started slow and steady during active COVID period.
The question very specific. COPD patients have SpO2 in 80s always. So what should be the target for them post-COVID?
Well, first of all, the role should be in maintaining the pre-COVID, coming back to pre-COVID levels, right? So if you were 80 before, you need to first get back to 80 and then slowly build it from there. In fact, COPD, a lot of other lung diseases. While doing my fellowship in USA at the Presbyterian Center, what I saw was quite amazing. We have a full rehab center where patients are exercising with their oxygen, with their nasal twangs, with their they are walking on treadmill, they are doing elliptical. So COPD requires a strong long-term lung rehabilitation. If a COPD has not done that, they should join a lung rehabilitation program to ensure that they are reaching their potential as much as possible and keep working on increasing their lung capacity and muscle and other capacities.
Dr. S.N. Rao wants to know, can the small huff, long huff and cough cycle be done for COPD patients as a routine?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Can the small huff, long huff and cough cycle be done for COPD patients as a routine, not only for post-COVID?
Yes, it can be done. It's contraindicated in few conditions when you have bronchospasm. In acute bronchospasm, it should not be done, while it can be done for most of the conditions. And while if you have undergone any surgery, especially heart surgery, you have to protect the stitches, you have to protect it, you have to huff and cough slowly so that you don't get very painful.
People having SpO2 below 94, other than positions, which exercise should be done?
Gentle mobilization, marching on spot, walking around in the house. All the warm-up exercises which I showed can be done. Walking starting with 1 to 2 minutes, going up to as tolerate, as long as you're monitoring the SpO2. Whatever exercises I showed, and also Dr. Asrani managed to take some snapshots. That can be done. Start slow, build it up very slowly. Whatever exercises I have shown mostly are not contraindicated, can be done.
There is a question by Dr. Poonam Rajput. I am recovering from COVID and today is my 12th day. Since past 2 days I am feeling a little congestion in the chest. Do I need to worry about it or will it just be fine?
You need to work on it. You need to work on it, Doc.
First is you have to be sure your hydration is good.
Yes.
And you've taken all the required treatment as per your investigations. Then breathing, exercise, proning, hydration, good nutrition, you will be out of it. Post-COVID, recently operated CABG, what exercise should be done? See, operated CABG, that means his coronary artery disease has been managed surgically. So, whatever he or she can manage pre-COVID, at least that much can be done. And all exercise for everybody has to start very gradually, not very suddenly.
You can also reach out to get specific recommendations from our specialist, Doc.
Doc, you'll be giving this PDF of yours?
Yes, I will be sharing.
Okay. Now, see, I want to tell all of you, we have a wonderful group on Telegram. So the PDF will be shared on Telegram, and I would request all of you to join that group because lot of interaction happens. We have a webinar once a week, but Telegram is actually teaching us every day, 10 times a day. People keep asking questions, others keep answering. There is so much knowledge exchange happening. So please join the Telegram group. And I have already put up the snapshots of her exercise on the Telegram. Sweetie, Preeti, just can you share the Telegram group link again? If you have Telegram group, if you have Telegram on your computer, the group is named Inches Academy _CME. Inches Academy _CME. You can directly join it, and Preeti will send you the link. Please join. There are more than 1,000 people and lot of interaction is happening. It's really helpful. Even I am saying that I learn a lot, So please join. And Dr. Garima, thank you very much. Dr. Garima is giving...
I have shared a link, Doc. This link is for joining the COVID rehabilitation program. It is starting in the coming week. And people who are interested to join the program can fill up the form. I've also put a special column for the doctors who would like to join hands in partnering and spreading this to as many people across India, across the world. So please reach out, fill up this form. We can help people recover faster through the COVID program, COVID recovery pulmonary rehabilitation program. Dr. Asrani, will you be able to share this on the Telegram group as well?
Already done.
The COVID, so there are two things. One is the COVID recovery program, and the second is the Facebook group. Right now, this live show was covered also on the Facebook group so that it can reach many people. The aim is to educate the masses. 1 or 2 doctors cannot do it. We need to reach the masses, and we can combine hands and help people get better faster.
And today's training is also on YouTube, and it will remain on YouTube. And tomorrow at 4 o'clock, those who want to see, there will be a replay of this. Thank you very much, Dr. Garima. Thank you very much for the time spent.
Thank you, Dr. Asrani.
The link I have put there already on the thing. Can you put your Facebook group on the chat? So I will share that also.
Right now. I'm going to do it right now. Some people who joined us have left us, so I don't know if this information can reach them in any way. As I said, it's important to know and then help people. So see if it can reach others.
We'll reach it to them.
So I have right now shared the link of the Facebook group, which can be joined.
Telegram also.
This Facebook group is especially on COVID and rehabilitation and their recovery. All right. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Dr. Asrani.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Inches Academy, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Bye. We'll disturb you for other programs in future.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being patient and listening in. It's wonderful to see that audience waited till the end and did not leave the session in between, which means that I was able to keep your interest and Dr. Asrani coordinating it, hosting it. So thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. And I hope you're able to spread this knowledge. And Dr. Asrani, we would like feedback of this session and testimonial so that we can spread the word and help it reach more people. Thank you. Thank you.
Download the chat and share it with you.
Yes, that will be great.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for participating. You can reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll leave, Doc.